Jeremiah Wonders is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. Have you guys ever wondered how I keep my penis and testicles from sticking together like ants moonwalking in syrup as I run around LA? I bet you have. Well, what if I told you there exists a single product that can keep my Dick Van Dyke and Lucio balls from colliding on the red carpet? Enter Sheath Underwear. Sheath Underwear has a special 2-pouch compartment that keeps your Cheetos and olives separate. It keeps you cool, dry, and comfortable on hot days. And in addition to Sheath's patented dick duffel, every pair of Sheath Underwear is an enticing blend of modal and spandex. What's modal? Exactly. Truly incredible. I love Sheath Underwear. It feels like I'm having sex with my own underwear, and I like that. It also helps keep my penis and balls so separate and cool, I feel like I have a vagina. I can't believe no one thought of this before. Sheath was founded by Robert Patton, a U.S. Army soldier during his second tour in Iraq, which is probably why things are going great over there. Now you can support this awesome veteran-owned small business and support the show. Win-win. Go to sheathunderwear.com and order with promo code SAX to get 20% off your first order. And Sheath Underwear's 100% money-back guarantee. That's sheathunderwear.com, promo code SAX. S-A-X. We have an awesome episode today with my buddy Ed Larson, who has a brand new documentary on Vimeo that you can rent now called How America Killed My Mother. We'll get into that in a moment. People keep asking me, Jeremiah, when are you moving to Texas? I'm not moving to Texas, but I will be headlining the Addison Improv on October 22nd through 26th. Get your tickets now on my website, jeremiahwatkins.com. And while you're there, grab a new Sax hat or t-shirt. They're turned out fire. I'm freaking stoked. Look at this. Thank you to everyone liking, commenting on YouTube, reviewing on iTunes, or just making IG stories of you watching or listening to the show and enjoying it. I promise that all that stuff helps. Last thing, my buddy JJ has a great company that guarantees to help your credit problems. You have some dings on your record, he can help clear it up. Go to bridgecreditsolutions.com/sax and he will hook you up. It's super easy and I personally know him. He's gonna help fix your messed up credit. Without further ado, let's get into this episode with my buddy Ed Larson. We talked on a couple topics that were somewhat serious, and I think that you guys will be interested to hear my thoughts and his opinions on that, and I think it's something that we will all be able to relate to, so I'm looking forward to hearing your comments on that. Thank you so much, guys, and without further ado, please welcome Ed Larson to Jeremiah Wonders. Go ahead.
This one right there. I'm gonna get your family.
Wait,
Sister.
Wait, he goes right to that? I'm gonna get your family and eat your sister? Wow.
Well, I didn't never had this power before.
I mean, dude, can I just say that voice with that body is a lot.
God, who wants to go to Disneyland?
Wait, no, what? No, I don't want to go to Disney.
Teacup fucker. Yeah.
A teacup what?
Fucker. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Teacups like fuck.
Okay, wow, this is getting real intense real quick. You know, you could have been a nice guy with a sultry voice, but you just went straight to demonic pedophile.
I feel like I'm nice on the teacups, but it's not angry sex. I'm just fucking.
Oh.
Fucking's bad. What's wrong with you?
No, I don't think it's bad. I mean,
Purist? Are you a Puritan?
no.
Mormon?
No.
Mormons love to fuck. Let's face it. They fuck all the time. They fuck multiple women and make them watch.
I mean, I guess that's true.
Yeah, it is true. You ever seen Big Love?
No, is that? Oh, that's that Mormon reality show, right?
It's not a reality show. It's an actual show on HBO that Tom Hanks produced.
Oh, it's like scripted.
Yes, and Bill Paxton was a Mormon. He had all these wives. He was screwing them in front of each other.
Wow, Teacup Diddler, you know a lot about Big Love.
Oh, man. What a great show that doesn't exist anymore. Mostly because Bill Paxton's dead.
Anyway,
Yes.
it was nice talking with you.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. By the way.
Yeah, did you have a concern?
No, I was just going to ask if you had any extra blood.
No, I don't have any extra, like,
All right, I'll just ask it, you know, because if you had any.
yeah, what were you going to do with it had I given you blood?
I'm a collector.
Of different types of blood?
Yeah, different types of blood, different people's blood, you know, like sometimes I'll just take sap from a tree if that's all that's
I'm
available.
confused. Are you a demon? Are you a vampire? Like, it's hard to tell from my angle.
Party boy.
Oh, you're just a party boy.
Party boy.
You just like drinking blood.
Drinking blood. Well, I don't drink it necessarily, as I rub it all over myself.
Oh, you're just like all about smearing and just like, do you ever get in a hot tub full of blood or like a nice bath?
Good idea. Do you want to help me facilitate this?
I I know I came up with the idea, but
This is genius.
that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the right person for the job. I don't think this is a job that I applied for.
Well, it doesn't matter. You were hired, you work here, and you're not allowed to stop working here.
Okay, how did I get in this office?
Welcome to my world, you fucker.
Okay.
This was amazing.
Yeah, this thing's pretty fun.
Oh, this is Barry White.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm actually supposed to be sexy. We said we went over the...
But you went for demon vampire party boy, so that's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Because that's what I am.
That's what you are.
That's what I'm always going to be.
Yes.
For all of time.
So, Ed is a good buddy of mine that I've known for years in a lot of different capacities. One of them is we've worked together on multiple seasons of Roast Battle.
Yeah.
You do a lot of writing for the roast in general, and you are one of those guys who you're a get it done guy, in my opinion.
Oh, thanks, man. That's very sweet of you.
You're a get it done guy and a guy who is I always feel like a positive and an idea man. You like throw like, how can we fix this situation? I've got 1,000 ideas, and that's who the kind of people who I like riffing and doing projects with, who are like, will throw 1,000 things at you, and then one of them will stick, and then it's kismet and it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If basically, you just keep throwing ideas until someone starts laughing. And if no
Sure.
one's laughing, it's probably not funny.
Right.
A lot of people take the time to write stuff that's not funny, and they're just not laughing. You're like, oh, that's a good idea, and they keep writing and keep writing. It's just like, oh, well, we shouldn't be enjoying ourselves,
Yeah.
because that's the whole reason we're, not lawyers.
I mean, it's very true. Yeah, I would not want to go in. I don't even know what kind of offices lawyers go into. I was about to start describing a day in the life of a lawyer, and I know literally nothing about like them going in and looking at their next cases and stuff.
Oh, it's usually them just stealing from people and prolonging things longer and longer so they can make more money.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
a lawyer, yeah. So if you have a lot of free time, you could be a lawyer.
Wow. That's a fun opinion right there.
Oh man, I was thinking, because we were thrown into like immediately had to like work with each other like intensively when it was the first year of Roast Battle in Montreal.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought about it when you were saying I had to join the wave.
Yep.
Which was very uncomfortable for me because I don't like doing other people's bits.
Sure.
Because that's like the first rule of comedy.
Sure. Yeah. Be original, be unique. Yeah. Have your own voice, all that. Yeah.
But then, it was just like, well, I'm in this. Let's fucking do it.
Well, yeah. So I had Jesus Trejo on this podcast a while ago, and we actually talked about that because Jesus and you filled in for Jamar Neighbors and Willie Hunter when we went to Montreal to basically showcase the show.
Yeah.
So it was actually very cool of you and Jesus. Like it was a mutually beneficial thing. I feel like for everybody is like we kind of all got to showcase, and Jamar and Willie couldn't do it, and you guys stepped in and brilliantly performed.
It was so much fun. I mean, I've always had a lot of energy. When I was in high school, I used to host all the pep rallies.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
I can see that.
So I always had that, like, let's get the crowd.
Well, you've got
going.
like the booming voice too to really get things
from the
going.
diaphragm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to make sure that last guy in the last row can hear you.
Very true.
Yeah, because a lot of times we would do because the theater I was in high school, we had the microphones half the time, and it was a huge ass theater.
Yeah.
And so if you can't talk loud enough, no one's gonna know what the fuck's going on.
Yep.
And so
Gotta
project. Yes. Hey. Ooh, it even came up on the devil mic.
Oh yeah. Let's when we're not using this middle mic, Dave. Let's just bring down the audio on this middle mic. Otherwise, it'll pick up some weird echoes and rumblings and stuff like that.
But man, yeah, no, that was insane because that's how I've gotten a lot of my gigs in my life. Is you just like there and you're like, okay, well, I promise to deliver, and it is.
Dude, being reliable in this business is so huge, and that's why I said you're like you're a get it done guy. Like you're thrown into this situation where you and we had known each other for a while before that, but we hadn't worked that closely yet. Like
we had like basically worked together at all.
Yeah.
Just like maybe a couple ideas here or there,
Yeah.
but like but it's like you're at Montreal, and so this is like the height of show business and comedy, and especially for us, like 8 years ago now, I guess at this point, something like that, 7-8 years ago.
It was a while ago at this point.
Yeah. So we were like, so nerve. I don't know about you, but it's just like nerves going out the wall, because I've been trying to get to that festival. That was my first time there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was just there as a writer. I was just there to help Jeff come up with jokes and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so like just being thrown into on stage was actually just so much fun. It was so cool. And plus Roast Battle has all the best, judges, and you get to perform in front of all the cool.
I mean, we got to perform in front of some of our comedy heroes.
Yeah. And the fucking X-Men. Remember?
Oh, dude, I forgot about that. I literally, like not entirely, but you know what I mean? Like you have to be reminded sometimes, like, because you're so in the moment, like you're like, for me, like I was like, we got to make this good. We got to make this funny.
Yeah.
We got to do all this stuff. And I'm like micromanaging, trying to make sure everything's like perfect around. And which members of the X-Men were there that night? Do you remember?
Well, it was Olivia Wilde was there with Aaron Rodgers. And that was insane. And then I remember we're doing our thing because we're sitting right in front of the judges and we're like running up and being fucking lunatics doing like 9/11 mime comedy. And it's the only way to really describe it. And and I remember there was a guy like right in front of us who was like laughing his ass off and high-fiving us every time he came back. He was like, "You're hilarious." I'm like, this guy's great. He looks familiar. He must be a comic or something. Come later, it's Michael Fassbender.
Yep.
Sitting right in front of us. And then it was just like, and then he hung out with us all night long. And it was just like, he just wanted to be part of the wave. And it was like the coolest fucking thing. I remember he like brought a joint and he like, it's after the show, we're smoking with him. And he brought this like it's honestly my best celebrity joke of all time. We're sitting there and he's got this like little shitty like pinner joint. And he's like trying to light it in the back hallway of this theater in Montreal. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? And then he's just like, because like I got like a giant sack of weed in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, I was like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, oh, it's a joint, mate. And I was like, Fassbender, get it together. I was like, where'd you get this? The set of 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, the fact that you were able to pop off one of those jokes with Michael Fassbender, like, oh yeah, this is a special festival.
Yeah. It was great though, man. It was very incredible. And I remember I actually because that went so well that they started doing the roast battles in New York.
Well, that was the thing, is that was really the introduction to the industry of what that show even was. So the stakes were so high that weekend because like I've been doing this every week with Jamar and Willie, and we kind of had a rhythm down. And as you know, you've been in many improv groups and sketch groups. Yeah. It's hard to find a rhythm sometimes with people, but luckily you, me, and Jesus, we all worked really well together. And I remember one of the bits that did really well was we bought these Asian there was like these rice field hats.
Yes.
And the three of us, and it was a Vietnam reenactment.
Yes.
And Coach T played machine gun noises. And it was pretty horrible when you just describe it, but in the act of the show, it made sense.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was what are you gonna do? I love going way too far, and it's just like sometimes it's a little.
Well, that's just the beauty of something like The Wave was like the jokes would sometimes be kind of middle of the road, like, oh, that's kind of mean, and then the act out would be 10 times more extreme than what they just said, or the opposite. It could be a silly joke, and then we put something crazy like that right after it.
Yeah, no, you got it. The 9/11 thing I was talking about, two people would be standing straight, and then another person would be a plane and come by and knock them both over.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
That was one of the hits.
That's a go-to.
One of the go-tos.
But I remember, so when they started the show in New York, they asked me to do The Wave. And I remember just being like, I did it for a couple weeks, and
the East Coast version of the show, basically, while like our West Coast show was going on.
Roast Masters. Luke Gomez was the host, and I remember I assembled a wave, which was like Carlos Delgado. I remember I was like, all right, if I'm going to be in charge of a wave, it's going to be people of all different races and women. Like, I want it to be like just the most like obscure people. And we did it for like 2 or 3 months, and then it got to the point where none of us were having a good time anymore. And I was like, I'm doing someone else's bit, and it really ate at me, and so I just quit. I disbanded the New York Wave because I didn't feel right about it. I never actually talked to you about this, but like I felt like gross doing what you guys do.
Oh,
like
just
knowing I didn't come up with it.
It being like like a version, even though you're doing unique bits to what that night was, maybe. But just the idea of like how it was formed and stuff like that, how it came together. That makes sense, I guess.
My favorite one that I wrote, though, my favorite wave bit that we did in New York, I don't know if you ever saw any of them, was Jordan Temple. He was an amazing comedian. I put a Hulk Hogan mask on him, and then he went out there and he ripped open his shirt, and it was right when the N-word controversy was out, and he ripped open his shirt. It was a big black chest, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, that's solid stuff right there. That's solid stuff. Dude, so you actually have a documentary that is out right now that is up on Vimeo that I want people to check out because my wife Maya and I, we watched it and we loved it, and we loved just being able to support you in a longer form, something, because we get to work on little things like the wave, or like little things behind the scenes on like little things like you also help produce Jeff Ross's podcast Thick Skin, and you've got a great podcast of your own. But I want you to tell the listeners and the viewers kind of about, it's called How America Killed My Mother, right?
Yes. And so basically, being a comedian, as you may know, we're doing all right now. But, for a while you struggle hard. Yeah. And it's just like there's no money and you just do everything you can. I'm working at a cheesesteak restaurant at night, trying to make money, doing everything I can to keep doing comedy. During this time, I'm an only child, and my parents are divorced, and my mom is struggling, and she's got type 1 diabetes for 35 years. And because I was I made her that way. I was the biggest baby born in Florida. And I was.
I love that. That's 100% a real thing. And in the documentary, which I urge you to go see after this, I'll put the link in the description. There's documentation of this, and it's so gratifying that is a real thing that it is. So continue.
Well, now I'm like fifth, because of modern medicine and shit.
Yeah, kids get bigger and stuff, and there's advances in technology. I couldn't hold the number 1 spot forever.
I know. What are you going to do? And I bet they're all no talent hacks too.
Oh, totally. Calling babies hacks is the best. Yeah, they're just a bunch of hacks,
So basically what happened was it comes down to it, like being a diabetic. And this is, not as funny as your usual podcast, but
that's okay. That's what I like about this podcast is it can range on like the silly, ridiculous to the real stuff because people relate to that stuff too. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So being a diabetic in America, all right, it costs $16,000 a year to be a diabetic.
Which just like right off the bat, when you hear that, when I hear that, I'm like, how can that even be a real number? Yeah. Because, dude, there's been a lot of years where I barely made close to that money at all.
Yeah.
Like for the whole year.
I know. It's insane. My mom's making $10-20 an hour at a nursing home. She's not even supposed to be working there because she's so fragile as a human being. She's a brittle diabetic. And so her blood sugar would drop on a whim, and then we couldn't afford the proper care that she needed. And it was a fucking mess. You can't insulin the prices have gone up 1,000% since 1996. And that's an unmanageable number. It really comes down to it. Some people, my mom was paying over $1,000 every month in her medical supplies. And this is for diabetes and for a disease that millions of people in America have. You figure we'd have it more under control. We don't. And so and we get into situations where my mom was working at this nursing home, and the nursing home, she was there because they had a good insurance plan. And then they changed the insurance plan. And it worked for everyone else who worked there except for my mom. My mom's the only diabetic, and she had this machine that was a glucose monitor. So basically, if you're a diabetic and your sugar level drops, to a certain point, you get brain damage and stuff like that, and then you got to eat a bunch of candy to bring it back up. And then if it goes too high, and then you could stroke out. So, and then you got to take some insulin to bring it back down, so it's like a roller coaster. My mom was a brittle diabetic, so it would fly up and down all the time, and she would lose her mind. And every time it got too low, she would develop brain damage and stuff like that. So she got this monitor that she used to keep on her, and it didn't give her insulin or anything, but it just told her where she was at. And if it
almost like an alarm clock, kind of like, hey, this is monitoring where you're at. Be weary, you're getting close, kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so when it would beep, she would know to do whatever. And it came to the point where the new insurance company told my mom that she had to give them $800 or they were going to take the machine back. And back then, $800 might as well have been 10,000 either one of us.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have it, and so we had to give the machine back, and she died in her sleep because the thing didn't go off and it didn't wake her up. So bottom line, it was money that killed her. And then now when I say America killed my mother, I'm not saying just the government, because there's different people that they prey on the poor. People prey on people who are less fortunate. That's how a lot of people in this country make their money, whether it's banks, casinos, loan companies, check cashing stores, insurance companies. They prey on your weaknesses, and they try and get you to spend more money than you have. And so if one thing happens and it all starts toppling down and you don't even know what the fuck's going on. And so my mom's developing brain damage during this process, and she also develops a gambling problem while this is happening, because one time she went to a casino and won $15,000, saved us, moved to New York with it. It was my first 2 months rent. She got a place in Jersey next to her family. It was amazing. So when that happens, it starts to become an answer.
Yeah, you start thinking that that's a solution to your problems, is that maybe you can win another huge sum of money. And the real thing is it's not coming again.
If casinos wanted you to win, they wouldn't exist.
Right.
There's just
that's not what they're designed to do.
That's not. Why would you exist if they were giving out money? It doesn't make sense. So all the odds are bet against you. And my mom just slowly kept going back and developed a serious gambling problem, which is very similar to alcoholism, where it becomes a disease and it's something you can't treat, and you could fall off the wagon and then it just becomes a disaster. And you get, so every time it got to the point where every time I made money, I had to get her out of debt. So all my roast battle money, all my burn money, that went straight to her fucking gambling problems.
Yeah.
And so I just stayed poor, even though I just started getting successful in comedy.
Yeah, you're writing on TV shows. You're a part of great things out here going on in LA.
People think you're rich.
Oh, dude. Well, that's what's funny about the Comedy Central thing is people are like, oh, you must be loaded from roast battle. I'm like, I don't get any residuals from that.
Nothing.
And I got just the day rate of what those episodes were. So that money literally went to bills immediately.
Mm-hmm. Were you SAG?
Yeah, but they have this thing with Viacom where they are grandfathered beyond SAG. So they don't have to do residuals. They don't have to. It's very strange.
Whoa.
So they air literally all those roast battle episodes in different countries, and we don't see residuals from that.
Well, I'll tell you something. We went and fought for it writer-wise, and we got some money. So maybe you should look into it.
No.
The WGA went and got us some money for all those different airings.
Oh my goodness.
So, go ahead and letting the cat out of the box there. But yeah, so
good for me to know. Why not?
Go check it out. You might just seriously, if you just go back, there's websites that involve, especially if you live in New York City, people owe you money and you don't even fucking know it. And that's the craziest thing. And they're not going to pay you until you say, hey, you owe me money.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
What?
yeah, well, yeah, like,
Hey, do you have that $20? Oh yeah, I guess I do. Yeah, here you go.
yeah, so there's a lot of stuff I bet you can look for, and you'll just start randomly getting checks.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, no, so go look into that. But all right. But
well, that's what I found interesting about your documentary is you're basically, how I kind of looked at it is, it feels almost like this mystery that you are trying to solve of what led up to the very sad realization that your mother passed away. You know what I mean? So you're kind of uncovering these dirty deeds that you end up going, without giving too much away, but you go to the bank that lent your mom money, you go to the casino, and you interview different people, kind of like, how is this even legal or possible, the way that you guys are doing things? And it's very fascinating.
the bank actually didn't lend my mom money. I was actually going to confront them about all of the overdraft fees.
Right.
Because overdraft fees, to me, are the most fucked up thing in America.
Yeah.
You're taking, I mean, these banks are making billions of dollars a year on overdraft fees. And anyone who overdrafts, those are the poorest people in our country. These people, I mean, I'm sure you've been there. I've overdrafted.
Yeah, I've had to call and be like, yo, you got to take this off.
Yeah. And then it leads to other things, because then you get your paycheck. You're like, well, I can't put it in the bank because it's negative $300 from all my overdraft fees. So I got to go to a check cashing store. And I go to the check cashing store, and the check cashing store takes 8%, and then you start losing that money. And then you just got this wad of cash and you don't know what to do with it. I can go to the casino, or I can, my landlord doesn't take cash. My car payment doesn't take cash. And so if I want to pay them, I have to go back to the check cashing store and buy a money order. And that's more money. And then so it's just like, it is so expensive to be poor in this country. It is insane, and then gambling is for the poor. The lottery is one of the biggest scams this country has.
You don't see many high rollers going into gas stations and getting scratch off tickets.
Dude, it's there's
not happening.
A rich man never bought a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to. He's set. It's all for, and you see those people and they're like buying 100 tickets and they're scratching it off and they're giving it back and they're scratching it off and they're giving it back. And it's disgusting. And it's so scary. And you're just like, I've been stuck behind that guy at the register. And you're just like, I just want my soda. Could you please stop wasting all of your money and giving it to these guys? And when it comes to other towns like Nevada, everywhere is a casino in Nevada. The grocery stores got slot machines. The airport's got slot machines. The convenience stores got slot machines. Everywhere. The bar has got slot machines, because if you
That's part of the culture there.
Yes, it is. And if you have less than 15 slot machines, then you're considered not a casino. So any fucking Joe can just have a slot. You can have a slot machine in your house. It's that ridiculous out there. There's like Bitcoin fucking ATMs in Vegas because it's the only money that pimps take. It's a sin. They call it Sin City for a reason, and so I've uncovered all this shit in the movie, and I realized there are so many factors that come into it, and it's not just the government. I want to really, because a lot of people, they're like, you go after Medicare and the price of insulin. It's like, yes, huge part of it.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like what started the spiral. But the thing I'm more concerned with is all the private citizens who literally just make their money off of taking money from desperate people.
One of the saddest things that sometimes people do, which is a huge industry, living in the cities like LA or New York, is people prey on people's dreams. They're predatory on people's dreams.
Oh my God.
And one time I came out here when I had first moved out here. I had been working morning radio in Kansas City, and I really thought that I'd be able to get another job because I'd worked in it was the Kansas City market. It's not a huge market, but it's a main metropolis city. So I was like, oh, okay, I might be able to get some work. So I go to one of these cold auditions where they're saying you have to pay to audition, to read, to possibly, become a radio host. which is basically like what now is podcasting. They showed the facilities and stuff, and it's this old equipment, and they're like, you can have your own radio show, which they probably would have given you your radio show on some random 0.6 radio station or whatever, but nobody's listening to it. And it's literally feeding into people's egos and dreams of being like, hey, you can be a broadcaster. And I did a cold read, and they're like, we'd like to offer you the next step. And they're like, this is the next step. We just need $150 for this. And that, you know what I mean? That's like, there's sharks in the water. And I hit up my old DJ boss, and he goes, you should never, ever have to transfer money to get a job. He goes, like, for anything, he goes, look out for all these agents who want you to get certain headshots through certain companies and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. You got to get your headshots updated every 6 months, they tell you. And it's like
and
500 bucks a pop. You know, you're just like, go fuck yourself. And then, oh, my God. And then, you know, not to talk bad about the unions that I'm in, but it's a mafia. It's impossible. You know, like, it's
a red dot appears on your forehead. You're like, yeah. Okay, sorry, I take that back about the unions that I'm in. My bad.
But like, honestly, like, I'm sitting here, I'm a struggling actor. I get my first gig, and I'm not allowed to take the gig until I give them $1,500.
Right.
Impossible. It's impossible. I got booked on one gig. So you like start paying a little bit here, a little bit there, and those payments are not small. They're like, it's like 500 a pop every time. And I remember one time I got a gig on my buddy's TV show. My buddy, I was lucky enough to just he threw me a part, and it was great. I crushed it. I loved it. Friends of the People forever. I love that show. But I booked the gig, and I do the show, and then 2 days later I get a call from SAG telling me that if I don't pay them, then they're gonna have to reshoot the scene I was in.
That's pretty ballsy call right there.
And it's my friend's TV show, and so I'm like directly fucking with my friend now, and it's like it was a mess. So I ended up losing money on the gig, and so like it's just, you know, it's everything comes. And now, like, honestly, now that I'm paid in and I'm paying my dues, and it's been a great help, you know, and but it's that initial hump that I don't understand why it's so much from the people who have so little. This whole country is built around that. It's so hard to get to the next step, and it's so expensive to get to the next step that it becomes impossible. You know, and that's also how the industry stays so fucking white. And it's because they're only catering to people who have money to start. You know, if you don't have the money to start, then I'm sorry, you can't. You
would be shocked. I think most people would be shocked how many of the current social media stars came from either super wealthy families or connected people who are already in the industry. It's that whole, like, you know, the Jenner and Kardashian effect, where it's very like it's all under this umbrella of family members, like, who are hooking each other up, kind of thing.
Which is also, I don't have a problem with that as long as everyone else also has a fair shot.
Right.
You know, because it's not like if I ever had a kid, I wouldn't want to help them. You know, like, you help your kids. That's what you do. You know, and so it's like, I understand that. But at the same time, you can't make it impossible for other people to start. And like, and it's, I know that we're going through a lot of heavy shit in this country right now, and I know a lot of it is just like people in the streets fucking, and I support it, but I think people need to realize a lot of these people who think that they're, you know, exceptional, and I'm talking to the poor white people. You've been duped by the rich to think that you're special. You know, like, you know, and that is something that classism is happening all over the place in this country. Everywhere you turn, you're not you know, you might think you're in a group, and you are not.
Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart. They don't want to.
Yeah, man. And so it's insane. And they take the most vulnerable moments of your life, and they'll find a way to screw you, and you know how to bleed you out a little more, and just get that little bit of more money. And you know, and let's face it, like, we go back to overdraft fees and banks. That's the only way they're going to make money off of poor people. Yeah. They're not making money off of my $300 bank account. Let's, you know, they're not. You know, they're not.
The interest isn't crazy.
Yeah. So let's face it. The only way they're going to make money off of me is if I fuck up. And so they want you to fuck up because that's when the money starts rolling in and they charge you $35 a time. And when it came to gambling and my mom's gambling problem, she would write bad checks because she knew that if she wrote a check and handed it to the lady at the casino, that they would give her money back and she'd be able to go to the table and have a chance to win and then go put that money in the bank real fast. And then that's not a bad check. That's a good check, and that was how a gambler's mind thinks.
Yeah.
And the thing with those bad checks at Trump Taj Mahal, which is where my mom used to go, was a check, like a normal check, like you write a check to your landlord and it bounces. He can put it in 3 times, or she can put it in 3 times, and then it bounces 3 times, and then it's not good anymore, and you have to develop another check. But they came, and every time it bounces, you get charged by the bank, and you get charged by the people where it bounced from. So it's like $50-something every time it happens. But Trump Taj Mahal, when they were still open, they figured out that you can submit a check 3 times electronically and then 3 times as a paper check. So they were submitting these checks 6 times each. And then my mom was so desperate, she was like 4 or 5 checks deep. And the thing is, they don't want you to write a good check because they don't make any money off of that.
That's their business model. That's how they capitalize.
And so I go back to the window where my mom was paying these checks, and I physically walk in the casino, and I go to the window and I try to pay my mom's debt, and they're like, "No, we don't take money here. We don't take money. If you want to pay the debt, you have to wire it to Vegas." This is in Atlantic City. And so you're just like, "What? I got to wire it to Vegas even though I'm right here and I want to give you the money that we owe you?" And they're like, "No,
they don't want the debt to be solved. They want it to accrue and build up interest and everything like that."
Yeah, man. So. It's a predatory system, and there's just a couple of people getting real fat off it. And I think it's messed up. And we've let it go on too long. We should not be preying on our most helpless. And I think that is the real problem with America right now. And, it's capitalism, which is, I'm down with capitalism. I want to make money. I want to have a bunch of money.
I like money.
Yeah. So
I'm into it.
I just don't want to steal it from anybody, especially someone who doesn't have it. And that's unfortunately where a lot of people make their money. And it's fucked up. That's the point of the movie.
People can check it out on Vimeo, right?
On Vimeo, starting October 2nd. I'm doing a limited release because I hadn't found anywhere to take it yet, and I'm still pitching it and stuff. But the thing is, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot here because I don't think anyone's going to take it after I release it. But I really just wanted it to be available before the election, and I'm just gonna eat whatever because I made the money with my mom's insurance money. And so because I was like, I don't know how to deal with this. I have this crazy anger problem. I'm not allowed to kill people. And the only thing I know how to do is make documentaries. And so I'm going to make a documentary, And so I took the money from my mom's life insurance. By the way, if your parent dies, you don't owe, and they have and they're in crazy debt, you don't owe that debt. If there is no estate, my mom had no estate. There was no money in the bank account when she died. So you don't owe that money. If you get the life insurance from your family member that died, you don't have to take that life insurance money and solve those debts. No matter what the fuck they try and tell you, you do not owe them any money. So please remember that's one of the things people try to trick you all the time. Oh, it'd be good if you settled your mom's. Fuck you. You preyed on her. It's like
interesting.
So you don't have to do that. That insurance money is non-taxable and it's yours. And so
make a note of that, guys. It's one of those, it's a sad thing to have to come to terms with later on when that happens to you. But if you're going through that right now, listen to what Ed's saying. He's been through this. He literally made a documentary about this. So
you know what else is a crazy thing that no one really talks about that you got to do when your parent dies? Is the first thing you do is you have to throw a party.
An expensive one at that. A very expensive one.
And I honestly, I had a really good, the guy at the funeral home director was really cool. And so he was very nice.
He put out a cake. He was pretty cool, dude. He was chill. He had beer bong helmets. This dude was pretty chill.
Yeah, straight up, it was just me and him in the room. And I was like, so we're going to do this cheap.
Yeah.
I I was like, no upsells today.
Yeah.
We're just gonna get me out of here, and we're just gonna do it like this. And then, oh my God, are you Catholic?
No.
All right, so
Grew up Protestant.
I was raised Catholic, and my mom was very Catholic. I'm now, because I was raised Catholic, I'm an atheist. But my mom was very religious, and she's, so I knew, and because she died in her sleep, she didn't get her last rites.
Right.
And so I remember being like, okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make this happen for her. I'm going to find a priest who's just going to bless her body. And they wouldn't do it. The priest wouldn't bless her body. I remember I went to a church. I went to my mom's church, and I was just like, so my mom passed away, she's over at Ked's funeral home. I was wondering if maybe I can get someone to go over there and bless her body. And the guy was just like, oh, I'm sorry, son, but we don't do that. And I remember just being like, no. So you just go over there and you do the sign of the cross at her, and I'll give you a donation, and it'll be fine. And then he's just like, oh, that's not allowed. And I just remember just being like, I'm fight you. Like,
well, yeah.
like I don't believe in God.
You will bless my mom today. You better bless my mom.
I'm the most.
That's what I came for. Okay. Either you're blessing my mom, or we're getting in the octagon together.
I was like, I don't believe in God. I will punch you and not feel bad. I will feel better.
Punch him, Ed. Punch him.
I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna find you. And so I got to the situation where I'm calling a million different places up, and I'm like trying all these.
You started going down all the different religions.
Yeah. And finally,
they're all like, no, we do not do that.
I was losing my mind. I couldn't believe I couldn't get someone. They'll fucking bless a piece of toast if you ask them. And it's just like, if I got a car, they'd be
So
like,
what was the main reason why? Because
the sacrament's supposed to happen when you're alive.
Oh.
The sacrament's supposed to be your last rites.
So like on your deathbed, ideally?
Your deathbed, a priest comes up to you and like holds your hand like the day you die.
But that's a scene in a movie. That doesn't always happen like that.
It never fucking happens like that. And so I was losing my mind. And finally my aunt, like a day and a half later, she's like, I found a guy. It's like,
dude, I think that guy is calling into the show right now.
Hello.
Yes, I got some money. Would you mind coming down over to Ked's funeral home? And my mother passed away.
Did you say kids?
Ked's, like
Like the tennis shoe kids?
Yes, you got it. Tom's River, New Jersey. Have you been there?
Gonna take me a while to get down there without transport at the moment here.
Oh, I understand completely. Well, I'll have my aunt come pick you up, and you can come down. Do you bring a Bible and you just bless her real quick, and I'll throw you some cash.
I sleep under a bridge.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
You got money coming to you, buddy.
Oh, that sounds like a plan. It's also gonna take me a while to be loaded into a car because I've got a big leg.
Oh, that's fine. Do you have like a priest collar or anything like that? Should I pick that up for you as well?
Go to Party City. Get me a priest collar, and yes, I'll be ready to bless my dude.
This is amazing, Father June. Thank you so much.
Yes, after we're done, you can call me Father July.
But that's really not far from the truth, unfortunately. It was like some dude that my aunt slapped he was like a 400-pound Filipino guy.
You pour water on this thing. It's like, build a priest. And then it slowly starts like coming up and you like pop up. It's like, you're blessed.
But yeah, the dude shows up. He's got this old ass Bible. He's like 400 pounds. His shirt's not tucked in, and it's just like, where's the body? And you're like, dude, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Here's your $200. And we go down and he's blessing, he's blessing my mom.
He's blessing.
It's very, I remember, oh God. And I go to the Keds guy. I'm like, hey, so my mom's covered up, right? I don't want to see her?
Yeah.
And then he's like, yes. And then I go down and she's like, she's not covered up. I was like, God damn it, dude. What the fuck? I'm like, she wasn't like her tits weren't out or anything, but like, she was like, like it was her face. I was like, I asked you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
And
I
then,
don't
like,
want to see that.
Like later he told me like, it was like, I did that on purpose. You needed to see her. It was closure and all this shit. And so I was just like, oh God. And
Do you later on, do you look back at that and you're thankful to that guy?
Oh, he was 1,000% correct. He was 1,000% correct. Because I honestly, it made me realize that she was in fact gone, and that her body. It's a crazy thing to say. Her body is now useless. And it's like this vessel that don't do anything anymore.
Yeah, I had a friend who passed away that I never saw her face after she passed away, even at the funeral. And it probably would have benefited me to see that at some point, because I saw like the gurney.
Yeah.
With, the body underneath the sheet. But dude, for a long time, I would see her in the streets and stuff.
Dude, you just expect them to pop up like it was some fucking sick joke.
It's a weird thing.
It stays in your head like that.
Yeah. And
I had a friend who passed away 2 years ago, and his funeral was actually a while after he had passed away. And so they still showed his body, but I mean, he didn't look the same.
He didn't look anything like himself anymore. Yeah.
And it was that was very intense. But also with like, in a way, you're just like, okay, this is over. That is him. That's not him, but that is him. And this is over. And okay, I get it. I can start dealing with this. And it's weird that it does help a little bit. And, but so, like, anyway, going back to the priest, and I paid him $200, and he gave the longest blessing in history. I just remember we were down there.
Is
for
my mom blessed yet, or what's going on? like, what is? All right, get to the point.
Wrap it up, bro.
He's like, you're gonna get your full $200 out of this.
I was like, I don't want it. But I'm real happy. I'm happy it went down, because I know that's what she would have wanted, and that's how it should have been. And so now I just really, the point of the movie and the point of what I'm doing here and talking about this thing for fucking 4 years now is that it's just such a simple thing to me. We just like, if we would have had $3,000 more, she'd still be alive.
Which is it's such a sad thing to hear and to say out loud. It's a very sad statement. You know what I mean?
It's just like it's so easy to fix in my mind. There's so little things. So if to me the movie can do anything, it's like just like a little thing. I would love for casinos to stop taking bad checks or stop taking checks in general. If you don't have money, you can't bet it. That'd be a great rule for
pretty
casinos.
Simple.
That would be very easy. It's like thumbs up. Let's do that. Also, I would love if overdraft fees didn't exist anymore, because it's so predatory. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had $50 McDonald's by accident. Just like it's fucked up.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. And so it's just, you can't do that to people. And once you do one and then you don't know it, you're 5 deep before they cut you off. And now you're climbing out of this hole and you can't get out of it. And it takes weeks. And then you start getting behind on your car payments, and you start getting behind on your rent. And then you got to do something desperate, and that's what it comes down to. And I really just want people to start caring about each other more. And just like letting a couple things slide from now and then. Where does the humanity come in all these rules? That's kind of like how I feel about it. I mean, it's very much how I feel about it. Forget kind of. But yeah, and know what I was thinking about the other when I was coming in here that I did want to talk about, which we kind of touched on a little bit the first year of Roast Battle, but the second year of Roast Battle, my mom died a week before Roast Battle in Montreal, the first time we're filming a TV show.
Oh man!
Like my mom, I was 2 days late getting up there because I was putting my mom in the ground, and so it was the biggest gig of my life. And I get up there, I'm lost a little bit, but it's good to have something to do, and I'm trying my best to write jokes and stuff like that. And I don't know if you remember this, But like, you know me, I'm not a stand-up. I'll do it if someone asks me, but I'm not a stand-up. You know, I'm a comedian, but I'm not a stand-up. I do sketch, I do podcasts, you know, I'll do whatever you want, but you know, don't expect me to be great. And so I remember we're getting there and it's the third show. Like I'm like a cloud of a human being. You know, I'm just trying to do pep rally shit. I'm not part of the wave this time. And I'm just like getting the crowd geared up. I got a bullhorn and I'm just screaming and shit. And then we're doing, it's the first night goes by and we're doing warm up and we have like, and it's a rowdy crowd. It's like a really, really rowdy crowd and they're drunk. It's late night and they're not listening to the warm up guy. So the second night they get a second warm up guy. And these are all like very great comedians. I don't want to say who they are or whatever. And then the third night, they're like, well, neither of those guys work. So, Ed, you do it. And it's like, the members feel like, what?
Yeah.
And so they throw me out there to do warm up and I'm at Montreal Comedy Festival. I have zero material. I have less than zero material. And like my mother just died. I'm like a fucking mess. And they're like, go do warm up. And I go out there to do warm up. And there's like Whoopi Goldberg in front of me. And like Louis C.K. back when it meant something is over there to the left. And I'm just like, all right, let's do this. And it crushed, luckily. And I was just like, and then I got to do it the rest of the time for that weekend. I just remember just be like, man, I wish I could just like, sometimes if you can just dig deep and take that weird ass energy you got in you and you just let it loose on people, it can really fucking work sometimes.
It can be powerful.
It can be really powerful.
And you channel it.
Yeah, man. You channel it and you go out there and you just like, because the answer, there is no, like just what we were talking about, you don't have a choice. Mm-hmm. You go out there and you do it and you make them laugh because you have no fucking choice whether because if you fail, it's over and you suck if you fail. And so they put you on stage and you can sink or swim. And I refuse to swim. I'm also very buoyant, but
try to not let me sink.
Yeah. And so I just if you go through shit like this, man, and everyone out there, like, I don't know, like a lot of people, like we're all going to have our parents die on us, you know, and so it's going to be a nightmare. And just remember that, you know, it's okay to be all fucked up is kind of what I tell everybody is when it happens, you know, it's like you live in it because it's almost if you don't like live in the fucked upness of it, then you almost don't even realize that it's real.
Yeah, I try to, when things are actually sad that happen in my life, I try to embrace that, like, and acknowledge it rather than, because I've, you know, as comedians and stuff, we all bury stuff and just quickly move away from it.
Yeah.
That's never good for you. If you address that you're sad and embrace this, like, I can be sad for a little bit and then pick myself back up and be stronger right after this, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Deal with it and then move on.
You have to. Otherwise, you're never going to deal with it. And you're going to be 30 years down the road and you're going to be crying and you have no idea fucking why. And it's okay, though. Also, like, to be honest, like, sometimes it still gets me. Sometimes I still get all fucked up and I cry a little bit. But it's if you don't, Beavis and Butthead taught me something, and that is, I remember I taught it at a very young age, and it always stuck with me. And it's just like talking about, it's like how come they play stuff that sucks, you know, because when they're watching music videos,
yeah,
and then Beavis is just like, well, they gotta play stuff that sucks. If they don't play stuff that sucks, how do we know what rocks? And that always kind of just stuck with me because like you have to have these awful things happen to you in order to like properly enjoy when life is going well. And so just ride it out, feel it, and just like fucking be man.
Beautifully said, dude. We're gonna close out with a segment that I call Sax Talk.
Ooh.
Sax Talk.
16 years old. I'm a virgin, and I'm talking to Kelly on the phone late at night in my bedroom. And she had just broken up with a boyfriend. And she was very sad about it. And she told me that she didn't want him to be the last person that she had sex with anymore. So I said, I'll do it. So it's like 2 a.m. She straps on some rollerblades. shimmies on over to my house. I crack open the front window. She slides on in. And she's beautiful. She's a very attractive young lady. Both of us are, the same age. And we're just like all about it. I was into it. And I was felt very fortunate as a fat boy to have her coming into my window. And then I was like, do you think maybe put on some music, set the mood? And she's like, yeah, go ahead, go put on some music. I was like, all right. So I go over to my CD player and I take out a little Iron Butterfly. And I put on Inagata DeVito. And I start shimmering over to her, and I go over and I sit down next to her and I start kissing her. And she just starts laughing at me. And I was like, well, what happened? She's like, this song sucks. I was like, oh, all right. It's like, do you know how long this song is? And she's like, here, actually put this on. And she takes a CD out of her purse, and it's the Top Gun soundtrack. And so I put on the Top Gun soundtrack, and I get through the first 3 tracks before I even figure out how to put a condom on. And then we did it. And it was very sweet and kind. And then she told my mother that I knew my father was cheating on her. And we've never talked again. Fuck you, Kelly.
Couple questions.
Go right ahead.
Wait, so this girl told your mom that she knew that your dad was cheating on your mom.
That I knew that my dad was cheating on my mom.
Oh, that you knew.
That I knew. She told my mom because she was an apprentice at a pharmacy. And then my mom came into the pharmacy to get some medicine, and they struck up a conversation, and she randomly told that to my mom, just for no reason. We had a good relationship.
That's so weird.
We were never boyfriend and girlfriend. We just had sex that one time.
Dude, I mean, you can never trust a girl on roller skates.
Rollerblades.
Rollerblades.
Yeah. But so that happened. And then my mom's like, your friend told me that you knew that I was like, who was it? And then and I told her and one other guy, one dude that I
Mother, tell me immediately. Who ratted me out? My anger's flaring up again.
So literally, my mom would have told me, I'm like, was it John? Because I thought it was John. Because he was.
And your mom's like, he knows too?
She was like, my mom said yes. And so I
was ready to fight that dude?
I literally came down from Tallahassee to South Florida looking for a fight until luckily I saw my mom before I saw him. And I was like, do you have any idea what you almost did?
The rage was bubbling inside my body. I could not handle it anymore. It was all-consuming, all-powerful. It was flexing through my skin even at times.
That's actually correct.
You mentioned you have an anger problem.
I used to, but not anymore. Now I'm chilled out. I found weed. I had football and then weed.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Speedweed. Great stuff.
Speedweed, Betterbox Studios, in it. It's happening. I want you guys to check out How America Killed My Mother, now available on Vimeo. It's in the link in the description below. Ed, thank you so much for, coming on the show today. And it's been awesome to just kind of reminisce with you about some good memories, and also just to kind of hear you share your story with us, because it's an interesting one that I think that a lot of people will be able to relate to. And some of the stuff obviously is not easy or fun to talk about. So I appreciate you being vulnerable with me and my audience and sharing today.
Dude, you're the best. Thank you so much. You're always a great guy to me. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.